So for today's video, we're going to try and save this Eager 1 Craftsman with the Tecumseh engine on it. And let me preface this by saying I have not seen a Tecumseh powered lawnmower in quite some time. I don't even remember when the last time I did a video on one was. This one does have compression. The recoil needs a little bit of work to it, I think. The handle is on backwards and upside down, but that's an easy fix. Actually, the recoil seems okay. Maybe I'll replace the pull cord on it though. Blade's in good shape, just needs to be sharpened a bit. The deck is a little dirty, but not too much rust. That's pretty normal for this area. The bag's got a hole in it, of course. That's okay. Now this was a pickup from one of my neighbors that answered my ad that I had put online. Basically, they just didn't want this thing anymore. They didn't want it in their garage. They had moved to a smaller house. But it used to be that I would see these Tecumseh mowers all the time. I used to stock parts for them. I used to keep all kinds of stuff for them because they were just so common. But most likely it's got carburetor issues. I do have a new air filter for it, so we'll go ahead and pull that off. I've got a new primer bulb. I've got a new bowl gasket, needle, and bottom gasket for the bolt. But we're just gonna go ahead and pull this off and get started. So first thing I'm gonna do is take the tank off, we'll take the recoil off, and then we'll take the beauty cover off. All right, so starting with the tank. It's got a little bit of oil in it. You just take these 3 bolts off. That just kind of comes off just like that. Fuel line needs to be replaced. What I'm going to do is just take off this whole thing as one unit if I can. Now for the recoil. Yeah, it looks like we've got a tool that was included. I have no idea why that's in there, but just like a Briggs, we have 2 bolts up here and then 2 bolts in the back. The back ones look like 3/8 inch, so we'll pull those out. And then this is going to take the dipstick tube out with it, just like that. So we'll pull that off and then I'll just stick the tube back in the hole. Undo both of these bolts. So the manual speed control is connected just like that. So we're just gonna move that out of the way. And then you can see where this one is connected here, that linkage goes right there. Now to continue removing the carburetor, it's a little bit easier on these old Tecumsehs to remove the exhaust, and that'll allow you to get to the bottom bolt. Yeah, I kind of forgot how annoying it was working on these. It's been so long since I've messed with one. I forgot you can't get a socket onto this bottom bolt, but no worries. Get it out the other way. So we just need to disconnect this linkage. And for that, we'll just, there we go. Meet you guys at the workbench. Where these Tecumseh carburetors commonly mess up, it's with these jets. And you can see there's water that's gotten into it. It's pretty nasty. Yep, got some water in it. So we're gonna clean all this stuff out. This thing is about had it. Let me see if I've got another Tecumseh carburetor. No guarantees. So as luck would have it, I don't have any Tecumseh carburetors. All I've got are Hondas, or Honda knockoffs I should say, and some Quantum carburetors, some other Briggs ones. But the only Tecumseh stuff I have carb related for used parts are these two bowls, which isn't the problem. I'm gonna try and clean that thing out and see what we can do with it, but realistically, I should probably replace that with an Amazon carburetor. So I just ordered a replacement carburetor off of Amazon. Of course, when I pulled off the fuel line, it broke off. That's another common issue with older Tecumseh carburetors. So what I'm gonna do is just put all this stuff away, wait till we get the new carburetor, throw it all back on. So working on the Tecumseh Craftsman, got the new carburetor in. I'm just swapping it over. On the new one, the elbow here is facing down. I can't really move it. I don't want to break it. So hopefully that'll be okay and I'll be able to get the fuel line in and it won't cause any issue with that. This said, the listing said it was a direct crossover for this carburetor. The only real difference between the two is the bottom bolt here is different. So all I'm going to do is just take these two screws out, pull off the air filter box or receptacle here. Came with a new gasket, so we'll replace that too, and then get ready for installation on the machine. So remove those two screws. An O-ring here, which of course was not included with the new kit. That's not going to be a big deal to reuse. So we don't need this gasket after all. Just going to put this on and in place. There we go. Ready for reinstallation. New air filter. And with these, you want to make sure that, see that little, you want to make sure that the filter bottoms out up against the inside of the cage. So now the logo for Craftsman faces out, so you put it on just like that. There you go. So now all I got to do is put oil and gas in it and we'll see if we can get it to start. All right, so I have no idea how much oil is in this thing. Looks like just a little bit. So what we're gonna do is just drain it all out. Oh yeah, needs to be changed for sure. So I'll let that drain for a bit, then we'll come back to it, fill her up, go from there. Takes about a half a quart or so. So right about to here is what we're gonna fill it up to. Then the rest of it we'll fill up with some Lucas oil stabilizer to thicken it up a little bit. Favorite Lucas. And then my favorite stir stick. Flip it back over. One of my favorite funnels. And slowly pour it in. Just let it drain for a little bit. Now we're going to put some gas in it. Just filled it up with gas. No leaking anywhere. That's good. So just check oil level. Camera can't really see it all that well, but it's right in the middle of the cross hatches, so that's good enough for me. All right, so off camera I had to adjust this aftermarket carburetor, and on these aftermarket Tecumseh carbs they have this adjustable knob here at the bottom. It doesn't surprise me that I had to adjust this to kind of tune it and to get it to run right. From the factory, it looks like it's all the way out. You want to push, if it's not all the way out, bring it all the way out and then roll it back in about one turn. That'll at least get you started. Once you get started, you can go down here and kind of adjust it and fine tune. If you throw it in too much, you screw it in too much that way, the engine will start starving itself for fuel and it'll want to cut out. So let it back out if you have too much, or if that bolt is all the way out and you can't adjust it out anymore, it's going to run really rich if it runs at all. So about 1 turn in is the sweet spot, and then fine tune it from there and you'll be good to go. So I'm just going to hit it with a couple primes. We're at the top speed. Runs pretty dang good. I am gonna have to replace this start cable. That's not a big deal. This thing is kinked, really common when people transport their machines around, but this engine is nice and healthy. It'll make somebody a good machine. It's definitely got a lot of life left in it. Videos, I'll get you guys a shorter video with it, the bag put back on and it all cleaned up and ready for sale, but till then, stay tuned for more vids.